Thanks, Brian. It is Wednesday. That means Cooking with Ellen. Ellen Easley joins us. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Good morning.
Can't go wrong with bread.
No, and I decided to do a couple weeks making some of our favorite breads in our family. And a lot of people that are our good friends know that the Easleys love to make bread. So I figured that I would let y'all know that we love to make bread.
All right.
So today we're making a recipe. This is a favorite family recipe. We got it from our several family members, extended family, and we make it all the time. It's called 30-minute hot rolls. And it really, within an hour, you can have hot rolls on the table, which is really good. They're going to rise for 30 minutes. That's why it's called 30-minute hot rolls.
And there's not really that many ingredients either.
No, there aren't. Let's talk about our ingredients. There are just 3 cups of flour, 1 package of dry yeast, 1/3 cup of warm water, a 1/3 cup of, I'm sorry, that's a whole cup of heated milk. I'm not sure why that's a 1/3. 3 tablespoons of salad oil, 3 tablespoons of sugar, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
All right. Well, we will take a break, come back, and mix all this stuff up and make some bread.
Good, that'll be good.
All right, we'll be right back. We are back in the kitchen with Ellen, and we're making some 30-minute hot rolls.
We are. 30 minutes to some really good rolls.
All right, let's get started.
Let's go ahead and start. We're going to, first of all, mix together a 1/3 cup of hot water, and this is just tap hot. And we're going to mix in 1 package of yeast. And 1 package of yeast, I'm using it from a jar. 1 package is 2 1/4 teaspoons. So we've got 1/4 and then 2. So that's just a tip if you want to buy yeast. A lot of people buy it in the little packages, but I just bought it like this.
That's what makes it rise, right?
Right. The yeast is going to help it rise, and that's why we want hot water. The hot water will activate the yeast.
Okay.
So we just mix that up, and then we're going to mix in 1 cup of warm milk. And you want warm just because you don't want to just all of a sudden make your hot water cold, and then your yeast won't activate anymore.
So just nuke it for about 30 seconds or so.
Right, right. And then we're going to add to that 3 tablespoons of oil, and I'm actually using olive oil. You can use canola oil. My sister had some Italian dressing. It calls for salad oil. My sister had Italian dressing, put it in there, and it was really good. Kind of gave it a different flavor, kind of for a dinner roll. And then 3 tablespoons of sugar.
I never would have thought about sugar for bread.
Right. It makes it a little sweet, and it also helps activate the yeast. And then we're going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
Kind of like a pinch.
Oh, yeah. So, 1/2 teaspoon.
Now, when you're cooking at home, do you actually measure everything like this, or you just kind of do it by feel?
Sometimes I just kind of do it by feel, I'll admit.
Yeah.
So then we're going to add in about 3 cups of flour. And you're going to add flour, and I'm going to swap to a wooden spoon now. You're going to add
feel there too, about 3 cups.
You're going to add it until it starts to pull away from the sides of the bowl. So you kind of mix and keep adding, and you may need a little more. And bread is one of those things that really depends on the weather. And we've noticed when it's a humid, wet day outside, you really have to add more flour to the bread. It's just wetter. It's just wetter. When it's a dry, kind of hot day, you may not have to have quite as much. So it's something that you really have to just play with and practice with, and you'll get a feel for it.
Well, I never would have thought that.
So you're going to mix this up, and when it's to this consistency where it's pulling away, you're going to
call Brian to see how to make your bread.
That's right. You got to call Brian, see what the weather's going to be like.
Wow.
We'll put a little flour on our pan, and then we're going to spread this out. And what I've found is that one of the best cutters for rolls, for if you want large biscuits, if you want buns, something like that, is a jar lid. So we're just going to take it, we're going to roll our dough out. And if you kind of roll it in the flour, it'll help it not be so sticky.
You ever use a rolling pin?
Yeah, sometimes I'll use a rolling pin. A lot of times I'll just do it with my hands. And then you can cut them out just like that.
Well, that's
and then
handy.
You're going to take these, put them on a greased cookie sheet, and let them rise for 30 minutes, hence the 30-minute hot rolls. Go ahead now and preheat your oven to 425 degrees. After 30 minutes, it'll be all hot. Put them in, bake them for like 10 to 12 minutes, and they'll be ready to go.
Wow.
So really simple to make, really easy, fast, and they're really delicious too.
All right, we're going to do our magic TV
Put
oven here in just a few minutes.
them in the oven.
Yeah, and then we'll come back and sample these things.
Good.
Now let's check in with Brian for another look at your midweek forecast. All right, very good. You've already sampled these things, haven't you?
Yeah.
I couldn't wait. They were just sitting there teasing me. Alone. I'm going home.
30-minute hot rolls.
All right, you want to roll? And I
Sure.
brought some light butter for y'all to put in them.
Oh, you gotta have butter.
Oh yes, got to have a little butter in the hot rolls.
These are so good.
They're really good, and they're so simple, as you saw. I mean, you can make these up and have them. And I think a lot of times we don't think about making our own breads, but you can take a recipe like this, and it's just a little healthier, less
Yeah.
preservatives.
Typically, when you make your own bread, it tastes better, too.
Oh, it usually always tastes better. And
Don't be greedy.
oh yeah.
That is very good.
So you can really have some health benefits too, and you can always try substituting like a whole wheat flour. And I just used all-purpose, but
You know, I didn't know that
versatile.
you had to warm your water before adding the water to the yeast.
the yeast. You
because
want
you
to
have to-
warm the water to activate the yeast.
I had no idea. I would have just put it in cold. I wouldn't have
And-
known any better.
Yeah. And if you're ever wondering if your yeast didn't work in, you can always just test it out and see if it rises.
Well, there you go.
I didn't know you had to check with your weatherman.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Well, thanks again.
Thank you. You can go to cookingwithellen.com and get the recipe.
All right, very good. We'll take a break. Come back with more in just a moment.